Hello, trading is closed on September 29th, 2020. We'll do our disclaimer, then go over our calls. This is my plan for tomorrow, September 30th. Trade at your own risk. It's my current plan. I can't guarantee it'll work, and if we get sharply in the undesired direction, the call's killed. Anybody wants to contact me, here's my email address. Well, everyone should have the webinar video by now. My son said apparently some people were trying to see it on an email different than the email they used with PayPal. He explained to me that doesn't work. Now, I also sent everyone my interpretation of today's patterns. I think I'm just going to do this periodically so everybody is familiar with how I use the system. And once in a while, someone's going to catch a mistake I make, and that'll keep me on my toes too. One person correctly pointed out that I should have crossed this number off the list yesterday, so I'm always happy to cross unfilled targets off the list. We still have an ultimate target just a bit higher. It doesn't have to print anytime soon. When you come this close, you just have to be aware that we came awfully close and didn't hit it. It doesn't make it more likely to print, but it kind of leaves a trail that has to be retraced at some time. Now, we looked for the pattern with the early high. This is it. And tomorrow's pattern has the early low. We have three new targets: 33.5793, 33.28.02 optional. If it doesn't print by tomorrow, we'll forget it. And 33.2753. So MEJT is saying today's move is going to lead to lower prices, but of course, as always, if we gap up smartly, these numbers are going to stay on the table, but not the time frame. Well, early on, we got a weak buy signal. I explained in my letter to people who were at the webinar why it's weak. The minimum target was close in addition, so it's not the kind of signal you would act on. Promptly had a drop. Don't forget, a buy signal just gives a higher target, doesn't predict the next move. So we have a target of 33.5793, most likely by early Thursday. Now, in the afternoon, we generated both higher and lower targets. The higher ones have already played out, but we have these lower targets on tap. Now, we did stop right at this resistance line that we did point out. We were looking for lower prices today. At the time I made the call, futures are actually up quite a bit, but it's cash is all I really care about, so the prediction did work. Here's the resistance from the 50-day moving average. Well, here's the count I'm using. Now, you'll notice this A was a pretty strong impulsive move, and what I'm calling Red C certainly isn't. So we could have a big impulsive drop tomorrow and everything still fits. But if we're not dropping pretty hard, pretty fast, we have to keep our erasers handy, because usually Red C and Red A look pretty much like each other. And this big drop didn't even take us under all these lows. Now, for all I know, we could take these lows out early tomorrow, which is a substitute for today's close. But of course, until that happens, and it might not, until that happens, this didn't really accomplish very much. All that happened is it retraced. Now, it's obligated to go down some more, but there's also a higher target. And MEJT just gives the targets. If we open little change, the odds are all these targets, the higher ones and the lower ones, are going to print. Usually by early Thursday. But if we gap up, some of these are going to be put on hold for a little bit. Well, tomorrow's pattern has early low. Doesn't mean you won't gap up. Usually it's a bullish day with a final hour high, but if there's early weakness, it turns the tables, and more weakness is typically seen in subsequent days, even if the rest of the day trades up. There are lower targets. Unless we gap up smartly, they're favored to print. Don't forget there's a higher target too. I'm still thinking that we've made the high, but today's drop isn't strong enough to be confident that the rally legs over. I think that's right, but I can be wrong on that one. So tomorrow has the early low. We have lower targets, but also a higher one. And I think the early trade, the first hour or two, is going to dictate how the rest of the day plays out. And that is today's call.